I'm so happy you're here. This is all about marketing without using social media. And I'm thrilled that Bradley is here. And he reached out to me not on social media. He reached out to me, or actually, I think it might have been your assistant, to tell me that he specializes in working with new graduates in their marketing world. And, many of you have been through a lot of on my program, and, you get you're sort of drinking from a fire hose in the last few days of the training, and you're getting just the top level of marketing. And I think Bradley has decided he's come up with a brand new way of marketing that has nothing to do with social media, because I think he likes to be outside a lot too. And I'm going to turn it over to you, Bradley. I just want you to know that we've got a beautiful group of people who have gone through hours, hundreds of hours of training with me. Many of them have been out in the field teaching, and many of them are brand new. So I'm excited. He has been teaching many, many, many new grads, and he's also embedded in a number of training programs as the marketing guy. So I'm going to leave it up to you, and I'm going to spotlight you, and you can take it away.
All
Thanks
right.
for being here.
Thanks for having me here.
You're
Hello,
welcome.
everybody. So I'm Bradley Morris, and my intentions for the workshop today is that this is really going to inspire you and show you what's possible around how do you build your meditation teaching business. I'm going to share a little bit about my story because I think I have a unorthodox and inspiring story for anybody that actually wants to make a full-time living from teaching meditation and you would love to do it without social media. I'm going to share pieces of my story throughout the workshop. I have a Google Doc right here. I'm posting into the chat. You're going to want to take that and copy and paste it into whatever type of document that you prefer to listen or prefer to use. So could be a Google Doc or Word doc, Notion, whatever you like to write notes in. Those are going to be your notes and your exercises for the day, as well as recap of different exercises that we do. Um, so I'm really excited to be here. I love working with meditation teachers. I feel like what the world needs more of right now is meditation. And so it's always such a delight to have a group of people that have devoted their lives to helping others find their inner peace. So my main intentions today is like, how do you teach more and make money as a meditation teacher on a consistent, regular basis that you can grow over time? How do you learn to market without social media? And then we're going to finish up with an Ask Me Anything coaching. Sarah, if you want to interrupt me at any moment, if you want me to clarify something, feel free just to cut me off, and we can dig in if there's something that you want to talk about.
Great. Thank you.
So, about my unorthodox meditation journey. This is me back in the olden days before I had a mohawk and a beard and a kid and a wife and all the things. I got my start as a meditation teacher pretty darn young. I was in my mid 20s. Something happened. The first video I ever put up on YouTube ended up going viral. You don't hear that very often, but that led to speaking tours around North America for about 2 years. That was way back in 2007. And while I was on tour for this gratitude dance video, I got really into my meditation practice. I was practicing every day, usually 2 to 3 times a day. Some days I'd practice 2 hours plus. And I cultivated my own style, which eventually I called Cowabunga Meditations. Um, Again, that's not something back then, 2007, there was a lot less teacher trainings than there are now. There was a lot less teachers, especially, I'm up in Canada. Victoria, BC was where I was living at the time. Now I live on Salt Spring Island. There just wasn't as much available. And so I ended up falling into teaching meditation. I had just finished living in LA for a year. I got kicked out by the United States government. They told me to go back to Canada because I wasn't welcome there anymore. And I arrived back, and a friend of mine asked me, uh, she noticed some things were different with me. I was more grounded, I was more calm. I was less of the puppy dog I'd been 2 years before when she saw me last, and I told her I was meditating a lot. And she said, "Would you run a group?" And I said, "If you get the people and you host, I'll show up and I'll share some of the techniques that I like to play with." That one group quickly became twice a week, and then it grew into 3 times a week by 3 months, and then it got became 4 times a week, and then I started doing retreats around the world, Peru, Mexico, Hawaii, and I would combine meditation, spiritual adventures with high adrenaline experiences, and that was kind of my Cowabunga Life brand that I did. Over the course of 3 years, between 2009 and 2012, I taught 500 plus meditation workshops. I did tours, retreats, etc. And then I kind of got, because I didn't really want to become a meditation teacher, it wasn't something I consciously chose for myself. I got to a point after the 3 years where I was feeling this desire to be more creative and do other things. And so I made a commitment to myself to learn the internet. And I produced a world-class audio meditation library with a good friend of mine. We did 48 tracks over the course of about a year and a half from 2013 to 2014. And he custom composed the music for all the tracks. They were really high quality. And then I got my first licensing deal with Mind Valley. And I quickly rose to the top as their number one meditation guide on their Omvana app. And all of a sudden, other meditation apps started knocking on my door, and I started signing deals. And since 2014, when all that started happening, I've reached millions and millions of meditators through my audio library. I've generated probably upwards of $500,000 of just purely passive income. And that led me to become a business coach for thousands of creators online and build my own communities, memberships, launches, courses, trainings, using entertainment as a way to teach and transform online. We supported the Radiant Sutra School of Meditation to build their online school and for their teacher trainings, for their audio libraries, and we just keep growing. And that's under my main company, Majik Media, which is how Sarah and I got in touch, was to come teach a workshop just like this to an audience just like you. And then we've had a whole bunch of conversations since then, and uh, now here we are. So that's just like a small piece of my story. And so over the years, I have learned a lot about business, about how I wished I would have done things differently way back in the day when I was just figuring all this stuff out, because I had no business mentors. I was just like trying to figure it out as I went. And so my hopes and dreams for all of you is that I can save you a whole bunch of time and trial and error. One unique part about my story is I got off social media 8 years ago. And so the second half of the workshop today, I'm going to be sharing the 19 relationships-based marketing strategies that I've used to scale my company, to scale our partners in business, the people that we've worked with through Majik Media. Uh, and never have to create a social media account, never have to log on again. It's all relationships. So my hopes is you're going to learn a whole bunch and walk away inspired with some real strategy that you could start to apply to your businesses. So just a few fun facts. I don't know if you know this, especially for those of you who are just getting your teaching journey started, but never doubt that the role you're here to play as a meditation teacher is important, because it is. So right now, 36 million Americans meditate every day. No, sorry, not every day. Just meditate on a regular basis. And that's up from 6 million people in 1972. 15 million of those people have a consistent daily practice. So that's a lot of people meditating daily. 21 million are still struggling to find a method that works. And I can guarantee, with the crazier our world gets, the more people that are going to be wanting to learn how to meditate. And a lot of those people don't really know where to go on how to navigate their inner world, how to process the experiences that they have when they're in meditation. Because as you all know, sometimes profound things happen. Sometimes we have these emotional healing experiences, and if we don't have a coach or a guide to help us understand that, a lot of people, the studies show, will stop meditating because they think something went wrong. So one really cool thing about what's happening right now is that the mainstream is now talking about meditation. This was not the case when I started in 2009. Sarah, when you started, I'm sure this was very similar. As like you were pioneers in this movement in North America to share meditation with people and to practice. And now it is something that is highly recognized for health benefits, healing trauma, reducing stress, improving performance, and living with more joy. It's backed with over 50 years of consistent research, and the popularity of meditation is growing by word of mouth. People telling their stories to family, friends, and anybody that's willing to listen. And it's shown that meditation it's a built-in human instinct, that meditation triggers a natural rest state that's deeper than sleep, and it just takes a few minutes. And as you learn proper technique, or as you're teaching others proper technique, they can get into that space quite quickly. And this is the beautiful thing is like every single one of you is unique. You all come from your own unique stories. You all have your own unique things that have really worked for you. And there's going to be people out there who are going to resonate with you over other meditation teachers. So you are needed. 100%, all of you, 100% of you are needed out in the world right now because every type of person is coming to learn meditation, whether it's moms, corporate CEOs, soldiers, athletes, actors, physicians, students, basically every type of person you can think of is coming to learn meditation right now. And there's no one size fits all language or technique for meditation, which means your voice is needed. You have your own unique experiences, and that's going to resonate with a certain type of audience. And you're going to be able to communicate with those people better than others will. So, your first exercise is a visioning experience. It's like, okay, you are where you are right now, whether you've been teaching for years or you're just graduating from the school and you're ready to start taking steps. In 6 months from now, where do you want to be? And in that exercise book that I shared with you, there is your first exercise is there's three sections. One is about, no, sorry, it's just that first one, the 6 month intentions. So if you want to go to that, I'm going to give you about 5 minutes just in bullet points. Write out some milestones that when you reflect 6 months from right now, which will be the fall time, what are some of the intentions that you have? So take 5 minutes. I'm going to turn on some nice background music. You can do your journaling, and then we'll continue on the adventure. But I just want to anchor some milestones that you hope you arrive to. Maybe it's, you've been regularly teaching once a week in person at a studio, or maybe it's you have been teaching a workshop and you've done 20 workshops. Maybe it's you have recorded 6 audio tracks. Whatever it is for you as far as milestones based on where you are and where you know you want to go, mark some of those down.
And if you haven't yet done it, create a copy of this document so you don't type into this document. And that'll be 6 months from now, is around mid-October.
Thank you. And there's the document for anybody that just got here. another 30 seconds or so, and feel free to share one of those milestones in the chat that you hope to reach within 6 months. One of those milestones. All right, that is 5 minutes. If anybody wants to share a milestone in the chat, would love to see where you're dreaming into. And all the exercises today are meant to be something that you can come back to after the workshop's done today. It's meant to just get the momentum going and plant some seeds, and then you can come back to it if you want to spend some more time just deepening into the questions and your answers. So this next question, this next exercise you're going to be doing are getting you to dig deeper into just the uniqueness of what you want to be offering to who. And so getting clear about what makes your journey unique. So your own meditation history, your training, what brought you into meditation? Who did you train with? I think Sarah is probably the answer, but maybe you have other trainings as well. Um, how has meditation supported you, helped you heal, helped to activate you into your own personal power? What would you say are some of your greatest passions in life? So, for example, I have a novel and I just launched my first retreat last year. I'm a golfer. I don't look like it, but I play probably 250 days a year. I compete professionally on the Vancouver Golf Tour. I have a novel that should be coming out later this year, that is a golf related novel. And I've created a whole bunch of different styles of meditation, presence, and focus techniques that I use within my golf game that I'll be teaching in the golf world in the coming years. And so for you, maybe you have a passion, something that you absolutely uh, love. Maybe it is cycling or running, and you could cultivate practices that could work for that particular audience. So just as you're answering these questions, think about yourself and your own journey and how you want to weave your passions into your meditation teachings. This one exercise, number 5 on the About You section on that page, uh, your story. You know, for me, before I found meditation, I had a rock bottom experience where my life was just totally falling apart, and I discovered meditation, and that was a turning point for me. That was what led me on my journey of personal growth that eventually got me to create that gratitude dance video that kicked off my career. And then you want to dig into your audience. Now, some of these things you're not going to know. You don't have to know everything. You know, do your best job at guessing. And when it comes to your audience, what I learned long ago when I was trying to figure out who my audience was, um, especially when I was starting to teach meditation, was like, who was I 3 to 5 years ago? And what was I struggling with then? And what was I looking for back then? And then I kind of described my audience as a past version of myself. And I found that to really help me nail the communications through my marketing materials and my website and everything to find the right people who resonated with my story because they were in the story that I was living long ago before I found meditation. And then the how section right here for these questions is, why are you a good fit to support them? That's probably the overlap of your journeys or your skill sets with their needs. How do you intend to guide them? So this is like a long-term vision. You're probably going to start really simple if you're just beginning to teach, but do you imagine doing one-to-one coaching, group classes, longer workshops that are like multiple hours or multiple days, audio libraries? Think about like how you want to serve people based on what's inspiring you or what has supported and inspired you the most over the years. What's your unique spin? What is your unique perspective on meditation? that you want to weave into your style? Uh, what's your vision for your meditation teaching business? So if you could just dream into the bigger vision of what you feel is calling you forward, and what do you want to be known for in 3 to 5 years from now? So we're going to take 10 minutes. You're probably not going to get through all these questions in 10 minutes, and that's okay. That's what they're here for, is like to just come back to as you cultivate this inner muse who's going to support you and guide you through the way. But see how much you can do in 10 minutes of answering these questions, to just dream into it. Um, and I see that there's some answers here. So Marcy, this is from the questions before. Marcy wants to speak on a national stage, enough private coaching by referral. Beautiful. Uh, and fill an October retreat with 20 participants. Retreats are so fun. It's such a great way to bring people together. Lisa, teach part 1 and 2 of mindfulness meditation for medical professional, for self-care, and for rehab wellness to 3 organizations. I love it. I think there's some tools that you're going to get inspired by later in this workshop. Michelle, my book is published and I have a signature course for hosting the experience. Beautiful. Shay, website up to date, 6-part self-study program recorded and published. Amazing. Kim, teach a meditation class at the community center in my town. I bet you can get the infrastructure laid down pretty quick to get that going. Allison, lead 2 U.S. retreats per month plus 1 international retreat. That sounds like a lot of fun. Kathy, start a summer program for high school students for 4 days, combining meditation and communication. Beautiful. Sarah, in the next meditation teacher training course, after recording each of the Awaken lessons, make notes as to which parts can be edited and turned into a library of information. Beautiful. Judith, teach meditation weekly and loving it. Uh, Donita, I want to start and guide teach meditation, at least 2 meditation groups for women and 1 for men. Uh, Everyone loves a transformation story. It's true. Everybody loves a transformation story because we all want to know when we're struggling that there is hope that we can transform too. So we're going to take 10 minutes. Go ahead and dive into these questions and see how far you can get. If you come up against, you get stuck on a question, just jump to the next one and keep going. Bullet points are just fine at this stage of the game.
Stop the recording here and tune back in when you're complete.
All right. Hopefully that went good for everybody. And obviously, you're probably going to want to spend at least another half hour, either later on today or tomorrow while it's still fresh, to just continue going through all those questions. And if you haven't built your own website, then that's the answers to those questions will be woven throughout the fabric of the copy, the images you're going to choose, and all that. And if you do have a website and you finish writing all of that, you may get inspired to go in and change up some of the copy and how you're describing things or how you're sharing stories throughout. Stories are such an important part of if you do a newsletter. Rather than sharing tips and tricks and facts, it's way more powerful and engaging for your audience to hear stories, stories about you, stories about the people you serve. So just remember, infusing storytelling into the work that you do is only going to elevate it and get people to lean in more to what you're saying and sharing. So this next part here, business models. This is a really important piece. I really encourage you when you're just starting out, is not to overwhelm yourself because building a business is challenging. Learning all of the tools of the internet that will support you to set up your ability to make money on the internet, that it can also be challenging. Which is why, we do what we do at Majik Media, is to take some of the overwhelm away from just helping people to just step in and do the thing that they're great at, which is teaching, not building tech stacks.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Of course.
Anne had a question there. Anne, would you state what you're asking about, if you don't mind?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. It just came to me when you were talking about telling stories in your newsletter. Does that include adding testimonials that other people sent to you about maybe how you impacted their life, if not necessarily about you, but someone else saying how your teaching affected them.
Yeah, testimonials are great, and I would take it even a step further than that, and to encourage case studies. So, a case study takes kind of the testimonial and it tells the full story. So, just for a real quick example for everybody, on our partnership page on my website, we have all these different case studies for all the projects that we've been working on and that we've launched. And so every time we finish a project, we'll come in here and we will make these case studies that kind of tell who the person is for the client, what challenges they were faced with when they approached us about partnership, what areas of focus we did for the partnership that we did, and the results of everything that we did together and what outcomes ended up happening as a result of this partnership. And then the testimonial is woven throughout there. So as you're all going through the process of working with people, if you can just document when you onboard somebody, what are some of the challenges? What were their intentions for that particular relationship when they came to you? What specifically did you do? How long did you work together? And what was the outcome at the end of it? And then you share the testimonial after you've done the outcome. And you could do this, these documents are created in Canva. They're pretty simple and quick to make once you've kind of written the copy portion of it. But yeah, telling the stories of the peoples whose lives are changing as a result of your work is a beautiful thing to do. Some of those people won't want their names to be published. And so you can just make up an alias name of like, let's just call it Anne. I was working with Anne,
Right.
and you can do it that way.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And the question was, your website at the bottom of this or at the end of this document, there's a link to all of his programs and his website and things like that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And there it is right there. Okay, let's continue on this adventure. Business models. Where's the slides? There we go. So the way that I used to do it, I taught regular drop-in classes. I had a meditation space in the front room. I had 2 living rooms in my house. I was living in a community house at the time, and we turned one of them into a meditation room where I did drop-ins. So you could do drop-in classes, online, in-person, workshops. Uh, Workshops would be, 3 to 7 hours. They could be multi-day events, one-to-one coaching, meditation subscriptions, that would be for like an ongoing membership, which I've done as well, an audio library. So as you produce more and more audio tracks, people can buy them one-off. They could buy the whole library as a bundle. You could then license that bundle to a bunch of different apps, which we'll get into later in the workshop. You could do retreats. There's lots of money to make if you're hosting your own retreats. And as a meditation teacher, you could also reach out to other people who are running retreats and be their in-house meditation guide. There's lots of possibilities when it comes to growing your meditation business, and I would just encourage you to take the pieces that really inspire you, get you excited, that overwhelm the least, that you could like move forward with for an extended period of time, and those are the ones I would focus on first. So my business model between 2009 and 2012 was I did a lot of blogging and I was doing videos, mostly blogging though. I would write an article every week about my experiences, about things I was learning, my own philosophical musings at the ripe age of 20, what was I, 25 to 29 or something like that. Pretty young, pretty young. I taught 60-minute classes. It was a drop-in of $20 for people to come. I also had a punch card if they wanted to buy 10 in a row, or 10 sessions. And then I produced my audio library. The original audio library was a much lower quality than the library I eventually went on to create, starting in 2013 to 2014, but it still sold. And then I would do day-long workshops for $200 and week-long retreats in Mexico, Peru, etc. And that was how I made money as a meditation teacher back then. If I was to start again, Here's exactly what I would do. So for those of you that are just starting out, based on everything I learned over the years, this would be my business model that I would figure out as soon as I started. Number one, I would tour a 60-minute signature workshop online and in person. For the ones that are online, I would design it. This would be my philosophy. I would give people their first breakthrough experience. I'd tell my story to create relatability and resonance with the audience. And then I would sell them one of the things that I'm following up with here. If I was teaching that same signature workshop in person, I would charge money. It would be a drop-in class. It'd probably be anywhere from $15 to $30 depending on the studio that I was teaching it at. And the online version, other people would host it to their audiences, and I would collect email addresses. That's how I grow my email list.
I want you
Uh,
to pause right there, Bradley,
yeah,
because that what he is talking about right now is I think this is the secret sauce, right? Is what, so would you share that one more time? You would create.
a signature workshop. We get into this more later on when we get into the relationships marketing strategy, but yeah,
Okay.
it's a signature workshop would be like your go-to 60-minute workshop that you just teach again and again and again and again, and you make it better and better and better and better. And when you do it online, other people will host you, they'll promote it, you collect the email addresses, and that gives a new audience their first introduction to who you are, your story, your philosophy, their first breakthrough experience with you. And then the call to adventure is what I call it, and that's where you sell them into a program or a membership or something like that.
I have one more question. You talked about your blog. I write a blog regularly. I don't think anyone reads it, but I know now Substack is out there, Medium's out there.
Yeah.
Do you or does anyone here have a recommendation for the very best way to get exposure? Substack, Medium, I don't know what other blog online getting good exposure being recommended to other blog readers. Any thoughts?
Substack's getting a lot of traction. I think more traction than Medium these days.
Mm-hmm.
And then what I used to do is I had a spreadsheet of like 50 different big blog sites, Elephant Journal, Yoga Journal, all these different platforms that were really taking off back in the day. So every week, when I would finish writing my article, I would go to that spreadsheet and I would submit that article to every single one of those platforms. And usually my articles would get picked up from anywhere between 1 and 5 different platforms that were looking for that type of content. I would get a guest article profile that would link to my website, and that was one of the ways I grew my email list back in the day.
I think that's still a good way to grow your email list.
Still a great way to grow your email list.
Yeah,
And I
thank
will
you.
say, we get to this later, but your newsletter, your email list is your gold because you own that. You don't own social media's following.
Right. Thank you.
I would also do a weekly podcast. So it could be just guided meditations. It could be just you coaching, philosophy. You could do it like a blog if you're traveling or, you know, moving throughout the world, or you have unique interests that a really subset group of people would be into. I would do regular blogging, YouTubing, articles, newsletters, that sort of thing. At least once a week. Your consistency is the key with all this stuff. For the online meditations, I would honestly, the more the better. I would do these like, I would probably do like a 30-minute class 3 times a week that people can pay to drop in on or just buy a subscription. And I would be so ridiculously consistent on that, and build that over years and years and just build a really great library of audio meditations, that, if you did 3 times a week, after a year, you'd have 150 recordings. And if you were recording with really good microphones and everything, all of that content can then be licensed across many platforms, which is what most people don't think about. Um, and then I think being local is such an important thing. I was mostly building it locally until I put everything up on the internet. And having a local community is just such a satisfying thing. So I would find a local meditation or wellness studio that I would become a local teacher at and do at least once a week, a 60-minute drop-in session where there could be, uh, I used to do it that I would start with some form of talk. There'd be a conversation that would follow, and then we would do the meditation practice. And I would work towards producing a world-class audio meditation library. You can get set up with your own home studio for $1,000, and that can generate a ridiculous amount of passive income without you ever having to build your own audience. And then I would do the 1 to 2 adventure retreats per year. That would be my business model. Yeah, I would just build upon that. I would set up my platform, my website to have the infrastructure to be able to do all these things really easily so it could just be plug and play and I could just focus on serving people. And what I've learned most over the years is like my best marketing is to teach people. Your best marketing is to teach people. The more people you teach and the more often you're teaching, the more you're going to get to be known as a teacher and the more people are going to gravitate to your work. It's honestly so simple. I think the internet and online marketing gurus have overcomplicated it. It's really
Yes.
that easy. But you need to build the systems so that you can easily show up to all of those things without getting bogged down by all of the tech. That needs to get set up so that it becomes much, much easier.
Bradley, you're not sharing your screen
Oh,
anymore.
there
There
we
you
go.
go. There you go. Thank you.
I thought I was sharing it.
Yeah, you were, and then it stopped. So that's
And then it
cool.
disappeared.
Someone's asked here, can you talk more about passive income with an audio library? I know
Yeah,
that's
we're
its
gonna get
own animal, but
yeah, we'll come to that in probably 30 minutes from now. We'll get into that. Right now, I just wanted to skim over these possibilities. And so we're going to take just 3 minutes right now. Based on all of these, go into your document, go to exercise number 3. You'll see that little chart. Highlight 2 of them or 3 that you feel most inspired to make your go-tos that you're going to really focus on for the next, say, 6 to 12 months. I will say, unless like retreats can be risky because there's a lot of upfront expenses, and if you don't have a big audience, I had an experience. I had a group of 13 going to Peru, and we were literally I sold my car on the way to the airport to pay for the 30 days that I was going to be spending in Peru afterwards because I barely broke even on the 10-day retreat that we did in Peru with the 13 people. And so it was a good experience. It makes for a great story. In the moment, though, it was extremely stressful. And I found that a lot of the retreats that I did do had that element of stress because in order to book the spaces, to host me and pay for all the food up front, like there can be a pretty big investment up front. And so I don't recommend making retreats your first business model until you've built a big enough group of people that are really excited to do that sort of stuff. And I would also suggest, which is what I did when I started, is choose a more local, beautiful location that you could collaborate locally with people and bring people to your area for your first retreats because the risk is just a lot smaller.
I have to 100% agree with you. And I also think one thing you can do is create the retreat, and then there will or could be a group that hires you to present or facilitate that retreat to their group. And I know some of us have had that experience, and it's much easier than trying to. Marketing is not, most of us, we're not marketing gurus, which is why we have Brad here. But, and I don't know how you were able to do all that and golf, but, you know, you're multi-talented, but I know for me, I'd rather be teaching than be marketing.
Yeah, definitely. That's why we get into this is to teach, not to market. And so that's why we need to find marketing pathways that feel creative and inspiring to us and uh, support our nature, that it feels less like marketing and more just showing up to life.
Exactly.
So we're going to take 3 minutes right now and just highlight which of the business models feel most inspiring and aligned for this stage, the next 6 to 12 months that you're really going to focus energy on those. All right. So again, keeping it simple to start, and then you grow into it once you've got the systems in place and you feel like you've done it enough times that you're not stressing over getting ready to teach your class at night or getting onto Zoom to lead your morning 30-minute meditations. And I just want to say what I learned is that consistency is the key. In the beginning, the people that show up are always the perfect people. It will snowball and grow the more you show up. So the more repetitions you put in, the more the momentum grows and builds for you. So that's why I say, like, if you doing it once a week is great. That'll give you 50 reps in a year. Doing it 3 times a week is even better because that gives you 150 reps. It just and doing shorter meditations meets people, especially if you're doing an online session. It could be like we do a 20-minute practice 3 mornings a week or 3 evenings a week. Make it work for your lifestyle so it's easy to show up to and doesn't cause stress. So we're going to just take a moment to build your schedule. So your in-person, your online weekly teaching schedule. I'm going to recommend that if you're just kicking this off, that you start with a once a week in person and a once a week online. If you're teaching online, you can use, I would recommend Zoom just because everybody's getting really familiar with Zoom, but you could also just, I have a buddy, he streams 5 days a week. He does an Instagram meditation. He built and sold a big yoga studio franchise, and now he does his weekly meditations, and I know he has plans to turn that into a subscription eventually, but he'll get hundreds of people show up to his 15-minute meditations 5 days a week. But there's lots of platforms that you could use. YouTube Live if you're looking to find an organic audience. If you're working on Zoom and you're doing the meditations on Zoom, you could also stream on YouTube Live at the same time if you want to check out some YouTube tutorials on how do you stream live on YouTube and Zoom at the same time, or Facebook Live, Instagram Live, etc. An Insight Timer, if you start building your audio library, publish on Insight Timer. It's the easiest of the apps to get onto. You don't make much money, but you can build a pretty big audience. And if you start offering courses and live streaming, you can also get coaching clients and all sorts of stuff. So there's ways that you can build an audience on Insight Timer that can make you money. But out of all the platforms I'm on, it makes me by far the least. And for teaching in person, you want to think about if you have space in your home, if you have an extra living room or a spare bedroom or a little cottage, you could turn that into your meditation studio and start to host regularly. Connect with yoga studios, wellness centers, friends who may have a home. That's how I started in the beginning, was like I had a friend and she hosted in her apartment. And we started with 5 people and it kind of grew. And then I ended up moving into the house that had the meditation space, and that became the place. And we could fit about 20 people in there at a time. Spiritual centers, if you're a part of, a church or a spiritual center that you go to, you could see if there's space for you to lead weekly meditations. Or if you don't want to spend any money and you live in a place that has good weather, you could meet at a beach. You could meet at a specific park and just start it there. So in your exercises, I want to keep going because we've taken a little bit longer to do these ones, but you're going to come back to that and reach out to, in the next 7 days, this is your challenge, is to commit to your once a week or more in-person and online schedules, and go find your space and get yourself set up to start teaching, because that's how you're going to start making money, and figure out what your fee is going to be to get going. And then once you get it going and you get the consistency, then you can turn it into a subscription. But just, you can start with, for your first 30 days online, you could just start as free, just so you can learn the ropes and feel good about the learning curve and not feel the pressure of having to charge money. And then as you get consistent, you can add a pricing wall over to what you're doing. And we're going to take questions at the end. And then exercise 5 and 6, which wasn't intended to do during this, is for you to just do some deeper visioning around the bigger journey that you're here for. What is your actual vision for this work that you're called to do? I know for myself, my entrepreneurial path has felt like a calling. And I'm sure for all of you, like, you've had your experiences and that there is something bigger that's pulling you forward into this work. And so it's always just great to do that self-reflective time before diving in to getting yourself set up as the teacher so that you've got some forethought around what are you really intending, where do you want this to go, so you can direct your actions and energy in the direction that you want rather than have yourself end up in a place that you're actually not stoked about the steps that you took. So now we're going to take a deep breath because we're pivoting. So just imagine within the next 30 days, you're offering 2 classes a week minimum, online and in person. You're starting to make money. How do you grow it once you have those pieces in place? This is the big piece for every single person that feels the calling and wants to share their gifts, because we probably, I know I grew up in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s. There was a movie called Field of Dreams. If you remember, if you build it, they will come. When it comes to business and entrepreneurship, that if you build it, they will come is not true whatsoever. If you build it, you have to market it. But good news is you don't have to market it on social media. So if you're on social media and you don't love social media, why do you want to get off social media? What are the reasons you don't like social media if that is indeed you? It's a good question. Because if we're not clear on why we don't want to be there, then we might not leave. It doesn't feel good. Invites arguments. Yeah, very divisive. It's a black hole. It's toxic. Gets you distracted. Yeah. For your sanity, time could be spent teaching. Feel like it is endless and I'm unsuccessful. Yeah, don't worry. You're not alone there. Nature, more congruent with meditation. Tech can be hard. On a scale of 1 to 10 for everybody, how much do you love social media? 1 being you can't stand it, you'd be happy to never be on it again. 10 being you couldn't imagine life without it because you love it so much. What's your scale? 5, 3 out of 10, 5, 5, a lot of fives, 3, 3, 1, 0. I love it. So I've taught this workshop, this section of the workshop, Thriving in Business Without Social Media. I've taught this to over 6,000 people live. And the average is a 4 out of 10. Alaire, amazing. 10 out of 10. You're the first one in 6,000 people who've said 10 out of 10, how much you love it. That's amazing. If you love it and it works for you, then there's nothing wrong with it. But for a lot of people, it's a big time suck and it's not an effective marketing strategy. So here it is, everybody. Here's how you know if you're wasting your time. So number 1, how much money do you make from social media that you can track? And how many hours do you spend per week on social media or per month? So the average that comes to this workshop is at least 10 hours a week, so 40 hours a month. And the majority, vast majority, over 90% of the people that have done this workshop, this section of the workshop, out of those 6,000, make nothing, $0. So they're spending 40 to 50 hours a month hoping to make money from their time on social media, but not making any money. And so if that's you, just know you're not alone and there's better ways, and that's what we're getting to right now in this section of the workshop. But let's just pretend you made $1,000 a month from coaching and selling programs and workshops and all the things that you do. So pretend it's $1,000 and you're doing the 40 hours per month on social media. You're making about $25 an hour for your time invested on social media. Now, that's not a professional rate. And we're trying to be professionals here as entrepreneurs and business owners. And so if you're not making at least $100 an hour for every hour spent on social media, you're wasting your time. And I'm going to encourage you to take a pause on your social media time and spend the next 90 days doing one of the other strategies we're going to dig into. So I left 8 years ago, just after my son was born. And I had an experience. It was a mountaintop epiphany. I'd wanted to get off for 3 years before I actually left. And I had this experience where I was up on the mountaintop. My son was 3 months old. We just launched a new branch of my business. It was the first time in my career where I felt like my inner artist and my inner entrepreneur were finally working together on a project. It was called the Grady Course Adventure. It was like Indiana Jones meets Saturday Night Live in a business development course. I was having the most fun ever. We're making good money. And I was stuck. So I'm sitting there on top of the mountain. I'm reflecting on how good life was, watching the sun go down. And all of a sudden, I caught myself in Facebook speak, meaning I caught myself thinking about the post that I was going to put on Facebook later on to describe the moment that I was in. And in that moment, I realized that my brain had been hacked, that my experience was no longer mine anymore, and Mark Zuckerberg owned that experience. And it felt like these disgusting octopus tentacles had made their way into my life, and they were just squeezing me for all of my precious moments. And that was it. That was my final straw moment. I went home. I told my wife, like, I'm finally done. I don't like the way this feels, and I'm gonna delete my accounts. And I reached out to all my friends, all the people that mattered to me on my accounts that night, and told them that I was leaving, and got their contact info, and I pieced out the next day. And that was a really scary move because I'd been on social media for 10 years. I was one of those people that posted 1 to 3 times a day. We just had a new baby, new business. That was my marketing. I had no backup plan, but my inner guidance was like, this is wrong. I can't do it. Now, I left for a lot of the same reasons people say. Is like I noticed 8 years ago how much it was dividing us. I noticed 8 years ago how anxious I felt being on social media. I found that it was weird to try and get people to follow me rather than develop friendships and relationships. I found that rather than feeling connected to my family and my friends, I actually felt really lonely on the inside. And rather than feeling safe to share my thoughts, I was censoring them. And now, here we are 8 years later, we have our thoughts being censored for us. And rather than being free, I was addicted to my phone. And so those are my reasons for leaving. And leaving was really, really hard. We had our baby. We were only 3 years on this new island that we're on right now that we didn't have like a solid community. And so I went through this like period of loneliness. It wasn't like when I left, all of a sudden all my friends started calling me like, hey, there's a party this weekend. Come to this potluck. Hey, we're going to this thing. We're doing this. We're doing that. Where are you? Why'd you leave social media? It was literally family, friends, followers, clients, people, all gone. And it wasn't like anybody picked up the phone and called. Nobody brought us soup when we were sick. Nobody helped me chop my firewood or do a work party on my land. It was just nothing. It was silence. And so that led me to make a lot of changes and my wife to make a lot of changes. I started a men's group called Man Ventures. For 6.5 years, we got together every Tuesday. Whatever guys showed up on the Tuesday would decide what the adventure is the following week. Couldn't do the same adventure 2 weeks in a row. We built an amazing brotherhood that spiraled into dad ventures, and I still go for weekly adventures with dads and kids, and we do all sorts of cool stuff. We had a culture when one of the men were having a kid, we would go cut their winter supply of firewood and stack it for them so they could be more present with their kids. We would do work parties, barn raising parties. We did a couple retreats per year where we go away and do a bunch of deep growth and lots of play. And it was amazing. And we got more involved on our local island here. I've been on the internet working for my income has come from the internet for 20 years now. Period. So getting back to the real world felt really good. For my wife, she started a community of moms because she was a new mom, and she now is stepping down from that role, but she grew a huge community called the Mama Hive on our island with 1,200 mothers and grandmothers. And it's become this incredible space for healing, for mutual support, food trains when moms have babies, meal trains when somebody dies on the island, problem solving when a mother's struggling with their child's health and they want feedback or questions, anonymous posting if there's, a dangerous situation for a family with an abusive spouse, like you name it, and it's been experienced inside of the hive that she created. And through all of this, we really just focused on real world relationships. And in that focus on real world relationships, everything is translated to how I do business now. And one important lesson I've learned over the years is the world does not need another social media platform. We don't need more social media or better social media strategies. We need more social connection. This is more true in the last 5 years than it's ever been. So let's just pretend you never logged onto social media again. And whatever the hours are that you say you do, whether it's the 10 hours a week or 15 hours a week or 2 hours a week, whatever you are with the scrolling, posting, reading, thinking about it, checking the phone and disrupting your focus, etc. What would you do with all that extra time if you were to think about it? What are 2 to 3 things that if you took back those 10 hours a week, those 500 hours a year, what are some of the things that you would be doing with that time and that extra focus? World peace. I like it. Sounds easy. Meditate, sleep, read books, read more. That's one of the most common things is everybody like, I read more. I'm so grateful. My son's 8 and he reads all the time. We're unschoolers. And so he reads 2, 3 hours a day, which gets me reading so much more. Judith, play guitar, more tree hugging. I thought this said more giggling. I was like, yeah, that too. Tree hugging and giggling. Skiing, learn an instrument, more walks in nature. Ride your bike, go to the beach, read inspiring books. I get outside more and be on my farm. Beautiful. Guess what, everybody? All these things are available right now. We have a phone box in my studio. My studio that I'm in right now is disconnected from the main house, and we put our phones in the phone box when I finish work at the end of the day, so we can just be present in the house part of our home and not have the phones around distracting us and dinging and all the things. So all these things, all that extra time, all those things you want to be doing, you could be doing. 8 years later for me, I took my hours used to be at least 12 hours a day that I was working. It was probably, I would waste 3 to 4 on social media, I'm guessing, coming up with clever posts, memes, videos, etc. My work days are usually 6 to 7 hours. I run multiple companies now. I've made more money every year since leaving social media than when I was on social media. Income's gone up every year. More exercise, golfing 250 days a year. We started a new sport called Chi Ball. Way more time. I'm on Papa Bear duty every day when I finish work around 3:30, 4 o'clock. Life is just better. I'm more focused and productive. So how do you do it? How do you run your business without social media? This is the fast, furious, take lots of notes section. At the end of it, you're going to choose 1 or 2 marketing strategies I'm going to encourage you to go all the way with and focus on this year because you do not need to do social media. It's proven that unless you're pouring lots of money into it or you already established a really big audience on social media, that you are 100% wasting 100% of your time that you're on social media. Got it? Good. So, relationships is the answer. How do we work together? How do we leverage relationships? How do we be in right relationship with each other? In everybody's quest for more emails, more followers, we forget to nurture the relationships we have right now. I guarantee if you looked through your phone, you could scroll your contact list and you could probably fill up enough spots in your business to actually pay for your livelihood through the connections you have or the connections who have connections. It just takes time. It takes time to reach out to people, to stay in touch. And I'm not saying to like send everybody a sales email. I just mean go through your contacts and see who you've fallen out of touch with that you could send a delightful message to and check in on them and see how they're doing. And they might ask how you're doing and what you're up to. And you'll tell them I'm teaching meditation. And they'll say, that's super cool. I'm thinking about getting into it. Would you teach me? You're like, yeah, I would love to. And they'd be like, great. Can I pay you? And you say, sure. That's how it works. That's how relationships work. Or they might be like, oh my gosh, you need to talk to so-and-so. They've got this thing coming up and they need a meditation teacher. Like that's the way magic unfolds when we just nurture the relationships we have in our orbit. And when we nurture the relationships we have in our orbit, magic unfolds. We don't need to go get more. We've facilitated launches for people that have an email list of just over 100 people, and she made like $35,000. So you can do it with few relationships. In fact, my business model with Majik Media is not to have lots of relationships. It's to pay for my dream life with as few relationships as possible, because then I can just focus on those relationships and give them everything I've got. So here's the 19 relationships-based marketing strategies I have personally used and applied to my business to make magic all over the internet and in the world. And now you can too. Number one, email marketing. Your email list is your gold. It does not matter if you have 10 people on your email list or you have 10,000 or 100,000. You need to be emailing your list regularly. My Majik Media list, I email 2 to 3 times a week. These are from coaching sessions. They're highly valuable. They're applicable tools. They're workshop recordings. It's stuff that my audience, that maybe they're not ready to pay for my services, it's offering them really high caliber coaching stuff so that when they're ready to hire a coach, they think of me first because of all the value I've already done. So if you're emailing your email list once every 3 months, then get to the habit of once a month. If you're doing it once a month, do every 2 weeks. If you're doing every 2 weeks, do every week. If you're doing every week, do twice a week. Whatever you're doing right now, double it. Your email list is your gold. Send them all your love. It is a real relationship, real people on the other side of that screen reading what you send. It's so important. That's where, for me, the majority of my money comes from my email list. So that's how I know it's that important. Number two, signature workshop. What is a signature workshop, you might ask? Well, I'm glad you asked. This is a signature workshop that we're in right now, at least this section. This Thriving in Business Without Social Media. Right now, this is my 40th time delivering this workshop. It's 60 minutes. It shares my relationships-based marketing strategies, and then I tour that from virtual stage to virtual stage. People host me, they promote it. I've collected over 6,000 emails from teaching this one workshop again and again and again over the last 2 years. And guess what? Every time people join my email list, some of them end up buying my programs, trainings, memberships, coaching, agency services through Majik Media, and my business grows as a result of it. Every single coach or teacher needs to have a signature workshop that you just tour in person and online again and again and again, and just keep making it better and better. So included in your signature workshop is your story. So you have that exercise around, like, what was the low point? What was your life like before meditation? What was your turning point? When you picked up meditation, how did you get into it? What happened? Did you have an epiphany? Was it a spiritual awakening? How did you get on this path? And what's everything that has happened since then? And based on that, what is your philosophy? What do you believe in, stand for, and know to be true? That's your body of work. That's your school of thought that you're creating. That's going to be the unique thing that makes you a different meditation than I was, that makes you a different meditation than Sarah is, because you're not Sarah, Sarah.
Can
And
I interrupt you 1 sec? You cut out when you said, did everybody hear that when you said something? I didn't hear it. You cut out on me. That last thing, and nobody's like me.
part?
Nobody's like you.
Yeah, the philosophy part. So, um, let's go back to that. So, your story, your low point, turning point, high point, that makes up your philosophy. What you believe in and know to be true, what you stand for. And your philosophy is going to be unique to you and your life experience, your goals, your aspirations, what you believe and know deep down in your bones. And your philosophy is going to resonate with people in a different way. And your philosophy is not Sarah's philosophy, because you're not Sarah. You are you. And that's the deep work for each of us to do as teachers, is like really dig into what makes our outlook unique, so that we can find the people that resonate with that energy that we're carrying inside of us. And there's going to be obviously overlap with the philosophy Sarah has, or the philosophy any other teachers that you follow might have, but it won't be 100% theirs, because you've got your own uniqueness. And then the third thing in your signature workshop is to guide, and this is the majority of it, it's to facilitate an experience that gives them their first breakthrough. It'll be probably a guided meditation, a technique that is your go-to. And depending on, are you doing is your signature workshop for stress relief? Is it for healing? Is it for emotional healing? Like, what is the signature workshop's theme? And that's what your experience is about. And then the call to adventure is like, I do these 3 drop-in meditation classes every single week. This is an example, obviously. And it costs $50 a month to show up. We have a forum, blah, blah, blah. That's what I'm inviting you to at the end of the workshop. If you want to come, it's $50 a month. Here's a link. Here's a 25% coupon code for your first month if you want to join and come check it out. That's what goes into your signature workshop. And then you just keep delivering it, make it better and better and better. And so this is the way I look at it. Is a lot of people talk about sales funnels and online marketing. One time I flipped the funnel upside down and I turned it into a mountain, which seems a lot more inspiring than flushing people down a funnel. So you've got like, how do you get traffic? So podcasts, people promoting your signature workshop, blogging, just building relationships with people. And then after you deliver your signature workshop, you call people to adventure. So maybe you have a coaching path, maybe you have a membership, maybe you have an audio library. That's how you structure your business model and start to lead people up a path. But your signature workshop is the first step people take on their journey of working with you to decide, are you the person that they want to guide all the way to the top of the mountain, their ultimate transformation that they're dreaming into right now? Yes or no? Signature Workshop is a great way for people to get to know you quickly and see if you are that person they're going to go climb a mountain with. Metaphorically speaking, of course, unless climbing mountains is your thing. I'm not going to get into this right now. So I do have a training that teaches you exactly how to build your signature workshop. I'll share a little bit about it at the end and I'll share some links, but won't get into it right now. There is an early bird pricing on until the end of the month. Next up, licensing. I have still never heard another marketing coach talk about licensing, and this has been such a game changer for me. As I said earlier, I've generated probably close to $500,000 now over the last 8 years of purely passive income from licensing one audio library to 9 different platforms. As you can see, I'm on a bunch of these different platforms. I also sell my audio library at bradleymorrismeditations.com for $200 a pop. I make I've never promoted this, but I probably sell it once a week. Sometimes I'll get all of a sudden a big rush, and I don't know if it's because one of the apps do it, but it just kind of grows. And then I make money through all these different apps. They pay me monthly, quarterly, or annually. This one right here, Mequilibrium, they were my first custom meditation project. They paid me $35,000 to produce 10 tracks for their library, 10 minutes each. And then I've made for the last 7 years, I get $12,000 every October from them as an ongoing royalty. So you do the math of that. It's a chunk of money for making 10-minute meditations. Mind Valley, similar sort of thing. That I've made probably $120,000 to $150,000 over the years from Mind Valley. Breathe, I get paid $1,500 every quarter. Aura, I make usually anywhere between $500 to $700 a month. And it just, once a year, I'll probably tag on an extra meditation. My Majik Kids platform that we have, I make a bunch of money on there through royalties as well. It's just amazing that you can license one body of work to multiple platforms and it makes you money for as long as that platform exists. And you don't have to be the one to grow the audience because these platforms are growing the audiences for you.
Can I interrupt you real quick? When you say a library, how many meditations are in a library?
You could start with, I always tell people once you've made 3 really good tracks that you're proud of, it's time to start reaching out to licensing partners because what they're looking for is more than like a massive library of work, is that you're going to be consistently creating content for their platform. And so
And do you come up with the licensing, or they come up with the non-exclusive licensing agreement?
it was a lot more flexible to negotiate back when I got started, but now most of these established platforms, unless you get in on the ground level with a newer one, most of them have this is what you get.
Right. Okay.
And it's, you want to go for non-exclusive over exclusive, because if it's exclusive, then only that platform has it. You can't resell it anywhere else, whereas all my
Mhm.
licensing is non-exclusive. So I'm just licensing the same content across many platforms and making money on all of them.
I have a question that refers back to something earlier you said about going into these businesses and bringing in, or yoga centers or churches or whatever, and bringing in your signature workshop. You said there's a revenue share, or maybe you didn't say it, but I thought revenue share. What is typically the revenue share that you are happy with?
Yeah, when going to a location, provided that they're going to promote it to
Yeah.
their audience, hang up posters, send out emails, etc., and they're going to help sell tickets, it's usually it could be a 25% to them, 30% up to 40% for them, depending
Okay.
on who they are and what their systems are. I only ever did when I would do tours, would be places that would hang up posters and do emails, and they always filled up the spots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you for that.
Beautiful. So yeah, licensing is it's such an amazing way to grow. Every single one of you should produce high quality audio, invest in getting the good recording gear, invest your time in learning to edit audio meditations or hiring somebody if you have the budget. But learning to edit audio is so much easier than video, especially with the tools nowadays. If you invested a 12 hours of time, an hour a week into tutorials and practice, you would get really, really far fast. And this is like a retirement project for you of like in 3 years from now, you have a big audio library, a big following, and you will be making a whole bunch of money from many different directions. Um, I have a course coming up in May called The Business of Transformation, and we have a whole section on producing audio. We have a whole section on licensing, and a bunch of other pieces. But we can check that out at the end. And at the bottom of the document that I gave you are a bunch of links to different trainings and workshops and offerings that I have. So you can check all that out as well. Um, okay, so I will get to some of these questions that are in here towards the end. And just to make sure I get through the strategies first. So next up, guest appearances. So everybody says, I'm sure if you've studied any online marketing, people tell you it's a really good idea to go do a podcast tour, right? And podcasts are super fun. It's great to just show up and have somebody ask you questions and you can tell stories. But podcasts are not a good way to grow your email list. Having a podcast, hosting your own podcast, is an amazing strategy for opening doors to other influencers and then coming up with strategic partnerships with those influential teachers to then host your signature workshop after they've been a guest on your podcast, collaborating on a workshop, collaborating on a retreat, etc. If you have a podcast and you host and you bring guests on, you can open doors that you would not be able to open if you didn't have the podcast. However, going on other people's podcasts, you think it would help grow your audience, but rarely does it. For example, last year I had a podcast interview on, it's called the $100 MBA. It's a business podcast. We had 120,000 downloads in the first 7 days that it was released. And I thought, this is huge. My email list is going to grow astronomically as a result of this. You would think, maybe 500,000, 10,000 people would join my email list after listening to this podcast. It was a good podcast interview. At the end of the week, 20 people joined my email list. I couldn't believe it. 120,000 downloads. 20 people joined my email list. However, I did my signature workshop, Thriving in Business Without Social Media, to that same audience 2 weeks after the podcast. And we had 500 or 600 people join my email list as a result of that. Signature workshops work because they had to sign up. They're showing up live. They're engaging with me. We had at least a few hundred people show up live for that workshop. And so if you're going to uh, use podcasts as a part of your strategy, I'd recommend being the host of the podcasts and finding people that would make great guests. And then after you've had them on your podcast, reach out and ask if they'd be interested in hosting your signature workshop. You just get way more bang for your buck. Um, Same goes for blog writing. If you want to become a guest writer on big blog platforms, that can be a great way to grow your audience. You could also find YouTube influencers that are in your realm and see if you can collaborate with them. Guest appearances are effective, but it's even more effective if you're the one hosting the conversations. Profit sharing has been an amazing way for me to grow my audience. So years ago, our Majik Media agency side of the business, we would build memberships and communities, and we would do these huge video projects and audio library projects and stuff. And I'd always get burnt out. You know, we do these 6-month projects and we'd make a lot of money, but we would get super burnt out. And so I flipped it on its head after a project when somebody came to me and they couldn't hire us because of our fees. And so instead, we took a smaller retainer, but we kept a revenue share for the next 3 years. And that one client project generated hundreds of thousands of dollars for us. It would have probably been a $50,000 to $75,000 contract, but because we did the revenue share split, we were invested in her success for 3 years. We generated hundreds of thousands of dollars. Our launch alone, Majik Media walked away with over $100,000. And so revenue share is a fun way if you're a service provider and people are like, hey, we want you to do this thing. You could take a percentage. I don't know how this works with a meditation teacher. If you're going into a corporation, you're like, we're going to totally transform your company. Maybe that could be a way. We also do it with Majik Kids. So 3 years ago, we launched a kids story and a kids story company, basically, or audio entertainment company called Majik Kids. This started as a homeschooling project for my son Soren, and it quickly evolved into an entire audio entertainment ecosystem with the best audio stories on the planet, music, meditations, curriculum with every story. We created 18 books. We have an artist collective. We're the first fair pay publishing company paying 50% of our revenue back to our artists. So when people go into our Majik Kids app, we built our own custom app where they access all of the different resources. Our artists, so our stories are, not just a narrator telling a story. It is full-on production. We call them movies for the ears. So the stories would be a narrator with voice actors playing the characters. We have a team of 4 producers locally where I live that score all the music and sound effects to bring the stories to life. And so all of the artists involved, the meditation teachers as well, our musicians in our library of music. We have over 700 inspiring kid songs in every genre. There's a revenue share that we do where all of our artists collect royalties based on engagements with their contributions to the collective. And as we built an amazing artist community because of this profit sharing. If I was outright paying a bunch of money for all of these artists to like buy the rights to their stuff, it would not be possible. But because we're doing a profit share, because of the fair pay publishing, we can make it work. The next one, it's a similar but different situation. It's called collaborations, making things together. So when I used to do retreats around the world, I always found somebody to collaborate with, somebody who would co-teach, who would share the risk with me, who would share the marketing with me, who would share the teaching and leading the experiences with me. And it always made things better. When you collaborate with other people, there's a certain type of alchemy and you make something together that you can't necessarily make when you're doing it all by yourself. And you share the workload, you spread it out, and it's a beautiful thing. And I really encourage you, if you find a yoga studio, you become a collaborative partner in their ecosystem. If you're teaching out of a yoga studio or wellness center regularly, the more you can learn to collaborate with others, the more successful you're going to become. I can just say that because it's that beautiful alchemy of just everybody bringing their gifts to the offering and you make something that can't be made when you go alone. And so I'm going to encourage you just right now, who's one person who has aligned work? It doesn't have to be a meditation teacher, but they do something aligned. You love them, you love their vibe, you love what they do, you have enough in common. Just one person that you would love to explore a collaboration with. And it could just be a 2-hour workshop. It could be a day-long thing. It could be a future retreat, but just one person. And maybe you have 5 people that you'd love to collaborate with. but write them down. And I'm going to encourage you to book a tea or coffee in person or online with those people in the coming weeks and just explore possibilities. Uh, I love collaborative relationships. It's so fun. I mean, what we've built at Magic Kids, we have a collective of artists of 300 so far, and I've collaborated with so many talented people through that. Magic Media and our Rev Share partnerships are also collaborations. When I launched that course I told you about earlier, the Great E-Course Adventure, that was a collaboration. I could not hire my two buddies that I partnered with. Blair was a very talented video producer. Andy was incredible with tech and design. It would have cost me probably $150,000 for this 9-month project to hire the two of them to come work with me. But instead, I made them business partners. They got a share of the revenue that we generated, and we all walked away winning. And so you don't necessarily have to have the resources in your bank account to pull off incredible things. You just have to be creative and have a good plan that you can enroll others to collaborate with you on the vision. Okay, so our next one here. We getting some stuff, taking some notes. Affiliate marketing is the next one. I've done affiliate marketing for years. So that's basically you create an offering, you get other people to promote the offering, and if somebody who clicks their unique affiliate link ends up buying the thing, they get a percentage. And I would say you might be like, well, that seems wrong. If I share somebody's stuff and get a commission for sharing their stuff. Isn't that kind of manipulative? And you could look at it that way, but look at it this way. Would you rather your friends, your peers, your allies make 20% on that sale, or would you rather give that money to Mark Zuckerberg? I personally would much rather see Sarah earn money off of sharing my offerings with her people than give Mark Zuckerberg 20% of my marketing budget to pay for ads on Facebook. I would just so much rather build relationships with people that we can reciprocate and we can share each other's stuff. And I'm really happy to give away that 20% because that 20% would normally be reserved for my marketing budget. If you're going to do affiliate partnerships, you need to be organized. And this is something I teach in a couple of my trainings, the Business of Transformation one, the Signature Workshop one. But you need to have like a media page that, for example, I'll just share this with you that if you get somebody who's like, yeah, I'd happily promote it. So this is for my signature workshop. When somebody says, yeah, I want to promote this business without social media one, I send them to this page. They can book the date that they host my session, or they can promote my next free one. They have an affiliate link to sign up to make money off my membership if anybody buys, or if anybody buys one of my programs. We've got 3 pre-written emails. They can just post their affiliate link right there to promote it. We've got social media posts that are pre-written. We've got banner images, copy and paste. They can check out the PDF that comes with the workshop. You all get that PDF at the end of this, headshots, bios, etc. It just makes it so easy with one email of like, yes, I would love to promote your workshop, to great, here's the link to everything you need to have. That's the way affiliates work. If they have to chase you down for resources, they're gone. If your page isn't organized, they're gone because these are busy people. They need you to be organized. So just having a media page is where everything's all there makes it really easy for them to promote you and get paid. Next up, sponsorships. This is something we've explored with Magic Kids. If you're doing a local event, say you decide to do like a local meditation day and you rent a conference center or a meditation weekend, you bring in all these teachers, you find local sponsors that can put in money. When we launched Play Chi Ball, which is our handball game, last year we did a big festival and we got a whole bunch of money from local businesses to sponsor the festival. And we didn't spend a single penny. We actually profited pretty nice off of sponsorships for running that event. And we partnered with a bunch of these local businesses. It was amazing. Strategic partnerships. So, this takes thought, this takes alignment, but here's some examples. Magic Kids. So we've got our Magic Kids app, we've got books, all that sort of stuff. We have a lot of assets in our audio stories music library that we own the rights to, the meditations, etc. And so we are collaborating with a whole bunch of companies. We're going to be in 2 to 3,000 stores starting next month for this company, Story Phones. They have these storytelling headphones. They've licensed a bunch of our stuff. This will be a huge partnership for us. We'll be in Targets and Walmarts all over the world. We have a baby stroller company we're in talks with right now. We've licensed our library across a bunch of different kids storytelling apps that'll start generating money in May. We have this company here, Soul Shop. They've been in schools down in the Bay Area for 20 years. They approached Majik Media about building them an app, but it felt more appropriate to have them become a partner inside of the Majik Kids app. And so we get paid $750 for every single school program they sell. And they've sold about 40 or 50 programs this year. So that's a revenue stream for us to host their content, and all of their schools get access to the Majik Kids app. Strategic partnerships are amazing. They take creative thinking, they take figuring out, okay, you do this, I do this. Where is the sweet spot where we can meet in the middle? But my business is built on strategic partnerships, trying to find that win-win-win partnership where it's like we all bring our goal together and we all walk away winning financially, and our audiences win as a result as well. This is an amazing experiment. It was going to be a 3-month experiment. I started a year and a half ago doing 6 free coaching spots. If you're not on social media, I can guarantee you got a lot of time to come up with creative ideas, everybody. And so this one was amazing. It's made me a lot of money and helped me to get to know the people on my email list. I set aside 6 free 15-minute laser focused coaching sessions that people can sign up for. You're all going to get a link at the end of this. It's in that document to have a coaching session with me. And so those 15-minute sessions, people are, what's your website? How do you describe in one sentence what you do? And what is the number one thing you would love coaching support on in this session? And I just get straight into it. They walk away with a breakthrough and they're like, okay, this guy's legit. Cool. And then eventually they might end up signing up for my Majik Mind coaching community. They might sign up for a program. They might sign up for one of my monthly workshops that I offer people. But it helps me to understand who's on my email list. I learn so much. And so if you're not on social media, or if you're ready to whittle down the hours, I would encourage you could offer a free 15 or 20-minute coaching session for people. But don't just call it a free coaching thing, because that sounds like there's strings attached. What could you call it? What could the purpose be, that there's a really specific purpose for these sessions? It could be a trial meditation session. It could be a breakthrough meditation experience where you give people their first meditation experience. You can come up with something creative. But I highly recommend this. This has been a really fulfilling, satisfying thing that I've done. I look forward to every single 15 minutes coaching session. And it's also inspired a lot of people to step in and work with me. I don't know about all you, but I'm definitely the black sheep in my family. I'm the first entrepreneur on either side of my mom or my dad's side of the family. Nobody ever meditated before I came around. I have just kind of walked my own path. However, if we can uh, have the courage to tell our family and friends what we're up to. Hey, I'm teaching meditation now. If you know anybody that's struggling with XYZ, these are the types of people I'm looking to coach. Here's a link. No pressure, but pass it on to anybody you think might be a fit. You might have somebody in your family like, oh my gosh, I have a friend and they're struggling with this. Thanks for sending this. Here it is. So don't ever shy away from family and friends. I know I did. I had a lot of ego pride back in the olden days when I was getting started, and so I wanted to try and figure it out on my own. But there's no shame in telling your family and friends what you're up to and asking if they know anybody that they want to send your way. YouTube Shorts. I see YouTube and social media as two different things. YouTube I use for entertainment and education. I've made tons of comedy over the years. Majik Kids, we produced 31 comedy ads last year, and we have over 2 million organic views on those. We've got a lot of app subscribers that have come through the comedy videos. So YouTube Shorts are under 60-second videos. You're filming like this on your camera, not like that. So you're doing the vertical, not horizontal filming. We post daily videos on YouTube for our Play Chi Ball business. It's fun. For me, it's art. It's more about making art than it is about just making videos. So that goes comedy. Comedy is a great thing. If you can make people smile, they'll stay with you a while. If you can make them laugh till they cry, they'll probably pull out their wallet and buy. I've been very inspired, and this was the company we worked with. They're called the Harmon Brothers, harmonbrothers.com. They've done so many famous comedy ads. We worked with their team of comedians to write our 31 comedy ads for Magic Kids. If any of you want to see those comedy ads, you can enjoy 30 minutes of binging the 31 videos at magickids.com/comedy later on. Uh, it's a fun way to inspire your audience. I'm going to be doing an experiment coming up here with Magic Media, my business coaching stuff, and I'm going to start producing some weekly comedy videos to share my point of view. This one was very profitable for me. This is one I would highly recommend you do at least once a year, starting this year, is pick a city. Doesn't have to be far away. A city where you know somebody that you could sleep at their place for free, where there's enough yoga studios and wellness centers and enough of a cultural vibe that you could book 5 to 7 over the course of a week, free or not free, sorry, your signature workshop, but like a 90-minute version that people pay for. So they'll pay $15 to $30 to come do your workshop. You'll get the place that's hosting you to promote it. You'll make a bunch of money on ticket sales. Hopefully by that point, or at some point, you have your audio library that you could sell as well at the end of that workshop, and then host a day-long deep dive workshop at the end of the week that you sell for, say, $250, $300, could be $500, depending on the clientele that you're serving and what the topic is. I would do this every year, a couple times a year, pick a city that I'd go visit friends, do these evening workshops, make a bunch of money on ticket sales, sell my audio library for 40% off at the end of that. Usually 60% of the room would buy my audio library, and usually about 10% would end up coming to my workshop at the end of the week, and I'd come home and my bank account will be topped up fully. I'd have in 1 week, I'd make 3 months worth of income and expenses that I needed. Next, press releases. We've been doing this for Magic Media and Magic Kids. If you're a new meditation teacher in your community space, press releases are an amazing way to get the word out about what you're doing. We just did a festival a couple weeks ago. We made some awesome press releases for Play Chi Ball. We did them for Magic Kids as well, and these have given us a whole bunch of extra exposure. So I'll just really quickly share like your press releases to get when you send them to your local media, you want them to look like a work of art. You could make something like this in Canva. So this is one that we sent out for Play Chi Ball. I ended up getting 3 radio interviews. We got 2 newspaper interviews for this festival we did up island. And it just helps people to understand so that a reporter could skim this and be like, oh, this is a cool story. I'm going to call these guys and we're going to interview them.
Can I just share something real quick?
Yeah.
I have a really good connection, another teacher who's gone through this program. She is a professional publicist, and she has the best database for sending out press releases. She pays over $600 a month just for the database. And she sent out my database. I mean, I wrote a quick press release the other day and sent it out. And within 24 hours, the local news came over to my house and recorded me and followed me around and was talking about meditation. And it was because of her list. So for anyone who wants to write a press release, he's not joking. They're always looking for content, whether it's the local news or whether it's a newspaper. Just email me. I'll connect you with her, and she and you can work out a deal where she sends it out to everyone in your community or even nationally or internationally.
I
It's
love it.
important to note, if you want to get into a magazine, you have to have at least 3 months lead time. News is within a week. Magazines, hard magazines, which no one reads anymore, it's usually 3 months. Just letting you know, but reach out to me if you want to be connected to someone who can send out your press release, especially if you have a great new workshop.
Yeah. Beautiful. Highly recommend it. It works, especially the local stuff. So here's 6 other real quick ones. If you have products, retail stores, majority of our book sales have come through markets and trade shows for Magic Kids. partnering with local events, local retreats, etc. Just becoming like, if there's local retreat centers in your area, go to every single one of them, set up a tea date, let them know who you are, what you're up to, and when they have retreats, you could go and do meditations at their retreats for each and every single one of them if they want to add that as like an upsell for the retreats that they're hosting. Um, Partner locally as often as possible. Take a look at the local businesses, the local places that you could go into and offer your gifts. Generosity marketing. When we started Magic Kids, we sent out 500 free books to 10 different companies that we just loved. We loved their values. We loved the products they made. That was actually how we got in with the Harmon Brothers. Is we sent a box of 120 books down to all the parents on their teams, and they ended up loving us. We ended up convincing them to work with us on our comedy ads, and then the rest is history. And then audience contests. So I'm not saying get off social media, don't ever go back. It can work. Here's how it works. You have a clear strategy. You know what your strategy is. You know what the metrics are to know if you're winning in that strategy or not. You're not just posting and hoping like a slot machine. You have a publishing schedule, so you have committed to publishing 4 times a week at X time, or you've got some form of publishing strategy. Because guess what? If you're working on the internet this day and age, you are also a media company, not just a meditation teacher. And a media company typically has a publishing schedule. You're disciplined. You're disciplined with your consciousness. There are apps built into your phone that if you only want 5 minutes on Instagram, you can set a timer and it shuts Instagram off after 5 minutes. So be disciplined with your phone. Hire a team because that's way more effective than you doing it all. And then make your work art. That's how you stand out in the sea of sameness, is you turn your body of work into a work of art, and that keeps you creatively inspired as you engage on the internet. Um, if you like elements of social media, we use Mighty Networks a lot of the time for building online communities, memberships, platforms, live streaming, courses, etc. Mighty Networks is amazing. Reach out to me if you're curious about it. And my invitation to all of you is to give yourself a gift and reevaluate your marketing strategy, or take what you've learned from this workshop and like apply 1 or 2 of them. Spend half a day making a new plan, or a day making your marketing strategy. It's like, before you climb the mountain, map out your course. Now's the time to map out the course that you're going to take. And leave social media if you must. And I would just say, most importantly, is protect your consciousness. It honestly feels like psychological and spiritual warfare is taking place right now, and social media is the weaponized place in which it's happening. You may or may not believe that, but from an outsider, that's what it appears like to me. And there's a lot of great ways, like going out into nature and reading good books and connecting with community, that are far more healthy than engaging on social platforms. And so I just want you to take 2 minutes right now to choose your strategy. What are 2 things that you could do for the next 2 months out of all the strategies we've talked about today? What are the 2 things that you're just gonna be like, there it is, that's my starting path. I'm gonna go all in on these 2 things for the next 2 months. Take 2 minutes. right, feel free to share in the chat whatever you've come up with. I see Shay says the city tour. That's always fun. There's something about like I remember as a meditation teacher when I would go to a new city and I would set up all these new spots. It's kind of like a celebrity comes to town for these local yoga studios, and all of a sudden everybody's like, "Oh, I want to go to this because this teacher's only here for this one class." And you can fill up spaces. I used to have, it'd be sometimes some places were 15 people, some places were, we'd get 50 or 60 people in a room, and it was pretty exciting. So, in your notes at the very, very bottom are all the links. There's a link for Thriving in Business Without Social Media. So, there's a PDF version of this that has a checklist of all these different strategies we went through with a little description as a reminder for you. The business of transformation, if you're really looking to build your platform, we have literally a website platform in Podia for you to build your audio library, build your brand, set up your coaching and your teaching calendar so that it's just all automated and set up and running. And you want to produce a world-class audio library and receive support doing that. And you want access to our 100 plus meditation apps and all the outreach templates that we've used. This is literally in 4 months, you're going to learn how to set up your meditation teaching business. This link is in there. And then in September, we're doing the 3rd year in a row of Crafting to Your Signature workshop where by the end of it, you're actually going to be delivering your first signature workshop, and you're going to go through the whole process of creating it, all the creatives for it to make your presentation really stand out, researching all the different hubs that you'll reach out to, etc. And this one is also in there. Both of these offerings have early bird specials that you can check out. And we did for this group, you can buy 2 of them for pretty much a 2-for-1, a little bit more, but for $15.95, you can get both trainings. And that would give you, this is your next 12-month strategy of building your business, basically. And there's that. So
And
all
you,
of this,
Bradley, what we'll do is send out links and everything. Just full disclosure, I paid Bradley to be here. This is not him just shopping his thing. I paid him to be here because I knew it'd be really important for you, and I would have paid anyone as a marketing professional to help you. But if you do sign up for his programs, I actually am passing his discount or affiliate code to you. So you get a deal. I don't make any money on this. I'm not interested in that for some reason. It's not interesting to me, but I wanted to let you know what's happening, and I've told him already. So,
yeah. And I just want to say, like, there's something to remember as you go down the path of building a business is just remember this. I wish I would remember this. I was in my early 20s, so I was impatient, but like this, you found your forever path. This is the thing that you could be teaching and growing and evolving for a long, 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 long time to come. And so just be patient and show up to it every day with so much love, um, and just offer this. This is your gift to the world. And whether you do it as a business or not, it doesn't really matter. But if you want support building it as a business, I know how to build this as a business, and you could come over to Majik Media, and I can definitely get you going much quicker than what I was able to do, because I've learned a lot in my 20-year career. And yeah, Sarah, really, really appreciate you having me here. I hope this was helpful, and that this class can be a part of your future teacher trainings that everybody can access after they've graduated. And all your voices are needed. We all see the world as it is right now is
yeah.
kind of cuckoo, and meditation is going to be key.
Can I just share something just to encourage people who have been in this world or just getting into this world of meditation? There are a lot of loud marketing voices. They're sort of really loud instruments, but they don't really know how to play. And just don't be discouraged by the people that seem to be really loud, have deep pockets, or have big marketing voices, because they don't always have something to follow up on, and they're not in it for the long haul. Many of you I know are in it for the long haul. And I know initially when I went out there, I got discouraged by the amount of people out there doing something similar to what I was doing. And, we got to play the long game, because I can tell you from 20 people showing up to my monthly meditations to now today was, Shay, you would know, was 100 and something came. And, just keep on playing. What would you say it was?
116.
116. Well, 197 signed up. So they're all from all over, and I can tell you that I'll be reaching out to them. So if you keep showing up, you keep showing up, you keep doing it, and there are programs that are going to be your loss leaders, just like Costco sells those stupid chickens in the in the heater. That's their loss leader, but it gets people in the door. So I'm going to suggest you pick one of these things, do the free thing. And I love the idea of shopping around your signature workshop. I know many of you did that presentation in the latest teacher training, and that could be your signature workshop. You just come up with a fancy name, fill it in with a variety of practices and, like you say, transformational experiences, Brad, and collect you will collect emails, you'll collect friends, you'll collect future students, and it's just a beautiful lifestyle. And I think I'm going to make mine even more beautiful by spending less time on social media, trying to make that work for me because I don't think I can do it, and I've tried. So thank you for that, Bradley.
Yeah, I'm glad to help. I mean, we all just are better served to live in the real world.
And I just want to say something to what you said about we're being manipulated. I actually believe that, and this is just my personal opinion, that we are being told what to think about and what to imagine. And we have to reclaim our imagination and imagine a future without social media and really get creative with our imagination so that we are not told what to imagine, but we know our particular path up that mountain. Right, Hans? Anyway, he's there from the African continent. He used that analogy before, and so does Ram Dass. I know we have a few questions.
Yeah.
Do you want to go ahead and address those, Bradley?
Yeah, do you see where they
Yeah,
are?
yeah. I mean, you maybe already did. So let's see. What recording gear do you recommend?
Um, I can't even rhyme it off in the top of my head right now, but if you reach out, I do have an article somewhere deep in the recesses of my blog that is a gear list for budget of 500,000 or $2,000 depending on what your budget is.
Right.
Over here, I'm just gonna pivot my camera a little bit. So I'm using this is my microphone setup right there, and I can get you the name of that. But over here, that's my sound panels, which are basically 2x4s with some lovely yellow fabric that we got for 70% off at Fabricland. And then inside of those 2x4s are like insulation that you would put into the walls of a home. I made that for like less than $200. I got them above my head here as well to just dampen the sound so it doesn't sound like you're guiding a meditation or, we do world-class audio stories uh, right there in that corner. And it sounds like you're in an actual sound booth. So there's a few like audio engineering stuff that we teach in this course coming up here are really, really important when you're getting started because these apps are only going to license your content if the quality of the audio is up to the standard that they've set. And that's why I was able to get in the doors. Like my buddy Blair that produced all my stuff with me and composed the music is just like he's a perfectionist with audio. But there's things that you can do in the beginning, even if you're not an audio engineer, to make your quality really good.
Another question. Thank you. I
Yeah.
love it. I need to upgrade myself. Somebody asked about and I know I asked you this, what is the best editing platform? I think other than Audacity, is that what the question was? Or do
Uh,
you use Audacity?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the best goes, I don't know if there's a best. I use Studio One for all of our Magic Kids stuff. Any audio work that I'm doing, Audacity I know is good. Ultimately, use the tool that you know. Um, if you have a tool that you know and you enjoy, then just use that. And learn to become really the best at that tool. Watch tutorials. Um,
Yeah.
like YouTube is incredible. So I would just so for audio, probably not iMovie to do your audio engineering stuff, like for recording your audio meditations. But like Studio One is what I use. It's amazing. There's lots of free tutorials on YouTube about it. In our training coming up, Blair, who's my producer, is going to be doing a class on it. Um, it's such a good tool. It really is. GarageBand can work to get you started. Absolutely. If you know GarageBand, then just start with GarageBand. You can always grow into a more complex tool down the road, but GarageBand has what you need to at least get the quality up. And a part of, what helps your audio be great is the sound barriers, the sound buffers, and the equipment that you have for recording your voice.
Very good.
Yeah.
Let me see what else. Lots of thank yous. And oh, Camtasia with Audiate. Is that Michelle, what you use? Yeah.
I Yeah, I haven't seen Camtasia for a long time, but I know, it does a trick, right?
It does, and they just did a new AI thing where you can just run the audio and it's like magic. It edits the audio very professionally and quickly.
Beautiful. Yeah,
Edits it in what way, Michelle?
amazing, right?
Sorry? Oh, it edits it. So I do a lot of outdoor recordings, and there's always wind or people or the sound of the creek, and it can really cause distortion. And I would spend hours trying to edit that stuff myself, and now it's just like done.
Oh, nice. Well, thank you. That sounds great. Any other questions for Bradley before we say goodbye? And thank you. Kathy, did you have a question? No? Anyone? Let me see what else. Everybody's excited about your kids' books. Oh, one question. No. I guess that's it. How long are your tours? Is that the city tour? Shay, that was your question. I didn't quite get it.
The question was, I believe you said that you do, let's see, where did I put that? 90-minute workshops. You charge about $15 to $30 per workshop. And then at the end of the week, then you would be selling a larger workshop. Is that
Day-long deep
day
dive.
long?
Where it just
Okay.
a lot deeper into the practices, longer meditations, different techniques, more advanced stuff. And those were usually like 7-hour workshops, and we would take, a couple 20-minute breaks, and there would be like a 45-minute break. I think I was charging $200 for those, probably be more nowadays. Yeah, it was great because it's like people come to the 90-minute one, and then you'll get a percentage of them that'll go to a day long. And once you have your audio library, like my audio library back in the day was $100. It's now 200. I'd offer 40% off if they bought it that night. And people could just register and pay right there with cash or with a tap card.
And that'd be a great opportunity for a press release.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if you're going to a local place, hey, so and so is coming to teach meditation workshops, and here's all the dates and the places, and this is what makes this event special, and you might get picked up by the media. And if you do, I mean, when we did this, we had one in for Play Chi Ball, we had one uh smallish newspaper in Victoria pick up a story about us because they saw us playing in the streets. We did these like a flash mob thing on Black Friday, and they saw us, and they picked up the story, and they posted, and we had like 35 Chi Ball sales right before Christmas just from that one post. Or that one little like digital newspaper that picked us up. So like media exposure is amazing. It's free marketing. So soak it up. Make a nice press release and get that exposure.
And in the teacher Dropbox, there's a method for writing press releases. I was a journalism major, so that's my thing. So you can get a template and you can get them online, template for an exciting press release, but don't make it boring.
Yeah. It's got to be pretty and fun.
Include a picture.
Show the
Brad,
picture.
can I just ask you how many audio recordings you have in the library that you sell for 200?
I've got 48 tracks in there. But to get licensing gigs and stuff like that is just once you get three that you're really, really excited about, those become your samples that you include in your outreach email. And then you reach out. And if you get the in, then they're always going to be looking for more tracks from you that you can update.
Thank you.
Thank you
You're
very
muted.
much, Bradley. Any last questions for him for right now?
Oh, I had one for Sarah, actually. The
yes.
Dropbox link, you had
Okay.
emailed that But can you put it in the chat again?
Sure. No problem. It's actually a landing page for all kinds of good stuff. So I'll get that in the chat right now.
Okay. And thank you, Bradley. This was wonderful.
Yes.
Glad to hear. Glad to hear it was helpful.
Very helpful. Thank you so much. And now I know you got to get outside. Now it's raining there. Enjoy your walk.
Thank you.
Enjoy your life without social media, everyone else, or life with minimum social media.
I'm not even going to take a picture while I'm out in nature today. Can you believe?
No, I just, I just want to tell a 2 second story. I was online watching my guru in India doing a big puja and everything that was on YouTube. So all this stuff was popping up on the side. And I watched my mind that wanted to go look at how, women shouldn't dress over 50 and what the latest styles are. And I'm like sitting there and the most important thing for me. And yet it was almost impossible for me to not click on those links. So I really appreciate this emphasis. So thank you.
I
Can I
mean, like,
just tell you really something short? I was leading a silent retreat. It had been raining a lot. We took a break and the sun came out, and everyone had gone outside to go for a walk because they were on personal time. And there was a huge, full rainbow. And when they came back in, I said to them, raise your hand if the first thing you thought of was, damn, I don't have my phone to take a picture of that rainbow. And every single person thought that.
that is amazing.
That's a hijack in progress.
Yeah, we've been hijacked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're the one with the superpower of attention. I did write a book on that. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Bradley. And I will follow up with an email to everyone who came and those who didn't come with the link to this video. And hopefully you can make some commitments and keep them and enjoy your life.
Spend another hour just going through the exercises that we've started. It'll be worth the time invested because all of your answers there can then be used for how you communicate who you are, what you do, and what makes you unique as a meditation teacher and the audience that you're intending to serve.